While I was at the University of Illinois, in those days, at Navy Pier, 1960, ROTC was mandatory for your first 2 years. My brother reminded me that wasn't true at all universities. It was true at what they call land-grant universities, the official, like University of Georgia, University of Illinois, University of Indiana, whatever. So you had to take ROTC, and I tolerated it. My brother had been an officer in the Army, and that kind of intrigued me. I signed up for ROTC that freshman year. I stayed my sophomore year. And then when I went to the Philippines, I had to decide, shall I continue when I come back to Illinois? I don't have to. But I thought, hey, I've done that much, I might as well continue in ROTC. You had to choose a branch of the Army. One of the nice things about being blind, like myself, you're automatically eliminated from the infantry, the armor, and the artillery, what they call the combat branches. So then there were other choices, communications or transportation. And then there was intelligence. And I thought, intelligence, James Bond stuff, that sounds okay. And I thought, they're not going to accept me. If you're chosen to be in military intelligence, it's not necessarily because you're smart. It's probably because you're a relatively straight arrow, that you're not going to get blackmailed. So all of a sudden, I'm in the military intelligence branch. And when you're in ROTC, you're not specializing. But then when I graduated in 1966 from Urbana, at the same time, they put the second lieutenant bar on my shoulder because of all the training. You had to go to summer camp. I went to Fort Riley for 6 weeks summer camp. The Army at that time, and I think it's still true, they did not want a bunch of James Bond guys walking around with cloaks and daggers. What they needed from intelligence people is to help the commander, the battlefield commander, could say to the intelligence guy, tell me about the enemy forces. Where are they? In what number? At what strength? Everybody who graduated in ROTC in military intelligence had to first go to Fort Benning, Georgia, to the infantry school. 9 weeks. It was not fun. So 2/3 of the company were infantry officers, and a third were intelligence officers. And you could tell the difference. We weren't that swift, but we went through that course, and I'm glad I did, and I was a little more broad-based because of that. At the end of that course, I was supposed to go to Fort Holabird, which was the Army's intelligence school. I remember the man standing up and saying, how many of you would like to go to airborne school? And I thought, well, that sounds interesting. I regretted it later. Fort Benning is also where you do airborne school. So I signed up for airborne school. And airborne school is 3 phases. The first week you run. You run. All you do is run. The second week is tower week. You jump off little towers. You start here and then you go something higher, and then there are kind of ropes around you. You learn how, then a 38-foot tower, and then you learn how to jump and how to fall. They call it parachute landing fall. And it'd be, you learn to hit here and roll here, roll here, roll here. And you'd go to the officers club at Fort Benning, and these drunk officers would be jumping off tables, and it was hilarious. If they saw you limping, they kicked you out. I got kicked out twice, not because I did anything bad, but my knees hurt. If you limped at all, they reprocessed you. So a couple times I went back to Hinsdale, Illinois, where my parents had moved, and then went back again and joined the next group going through. But finally I graduated. You had to jump out of the plane 5 times. They would teach you songs, and I cannot resist singing one of those songs to you, and it's a well-known song. It goes like this. And as you ran, you sang these songs. Bo diddly, have you heard? We're gonna jump from the big iron bird. Stand up, hook up, shuffle to the door. Jump right out and count to 4. Hey, Bo diddly, hey, Bo diddly, Bo. If my chute don't open wide, dig me a grave about 6 feet wide. Pin my wings upon my chest. Tell my ma I did my best. Hey, Bo diddly, hey, Bo diddly, Bo. You would sing these songs, and some of them I couldn't sing because they were pretty bad news. But there was that one you sang all the time, and it kept you not thinking about how tired you are. So then once you finish run week, tower week, then it's jump week. In order to get your wings, you have to make 5 jumps. If the weather's good, they do 2 on Monday, 2 on Tuesday, and 1 on Wednesday. We had a good weather. We were done by Wednesday. I'm the only officer, and the rest are 18-year-old guys, and we're sitting on a C-130, and there are like 13 guys sitting here on web seats on the other side, but 13, I'm the last guy. And these 18-year-olds, at the time I was 24, and these 18-year-olds are scared to death. And they're looking at me, hey, Lieutenant, is it going to be all right? Don't look at me, I'm as scared as you are. You heard a command, the ugliest sergeant you ever seen in your life. The door opens up, you feel the breeze, and he shouts out, stand in the door. So the first guy, you stand up and the guy in front of you, you take his static line and you hook it to the line. And then you have a reserve chute in front. And so you get all hooked up and then stand up, hook up, shuffle to the door. You shuffle because of turbulence. And if you were walking, you're more likely to fall. So you're shuffling to the door. I'm the last one, and they told you slam your hands against the side of the plane and you look out and you wait for them to say go. And I'm there, and I didn't hear go. And I thought, well, if I didn't hear it, they're going to kick me out. And I didn't hear it. What had happened was the jump master looks for the light. The pilot puts on the green light, meaning you're over the drop zone. And when he puts on the red light, don't drop anybody else. But he put the red light on, but there's only the guy across the other side and me. We're the last ones left. And they're trying to decide, should we let these guys go or should we take them back? They don't want to take us back, put on another plane. All of a sudden I hear, go! And I jump out and I see everybody else is landing on the drop zone. And this guy and I are landing on a road. You know, you jump from 1,200 feet. It's not high. And they tell you, don't look down after you get to the heights of the trees. We're coming down on a road. And that guy, I had been in public schools in the Army, but I heard some new swear words I had never heard before. And that guy we both landed on the road, and it was a windy day, and the chute started pulling me away, and you can get hurt that way. But that first jump, I never opened my eyes. I just did not. I just kept my head down and landed on the road. Second, I opened up a little bit. By the fifth, it was fun. The fourth, you had a rifle with you. It was something. However, the reason I tell that story is that everybody who's in the Army understands that of all the stupid people in the world, there's nobody more stupid than a second lieutenant, because he's supposed to be in charge of these sergeants of 20, 30 years duration. They could look at me and say, oh, here comes another lieutenant that I have to salute. But the fact that I had airborne wings, at least they could say, hey, at least he got through airborne school. So I was really grateful for that airborne experience. Then went to Fort Holabird, which was the Army's intelligence school. This was early 1967. Took basic intelligence and counterintelligence. And every class that graduated, the last 5 classes that graduated, they all went to Vietnam. Vietnam was big then. Tet was in 1968. This is 67. Every class went to Vietnam. That's about the time I had met Kathy. So I'm telling Kathy, I'm going to go to Vietnam. I'm sorry, hon, we're going to have to put off our engagement, our wedding, whatever. And one day I went and looked on the list, and our entire class was going to Germany. And it was like, about that time, Kathy decided to go to the University of Madrid. So that's all for now. Next, we'll talk about meeting Kathy.